Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it douse, not what I'm about, have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Anything negative, cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase it? Face it, I don't give up quick, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise.
You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go. Good evening, everybody. What's up? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, in the house. Hey, another long NFL Sunday, man. I hope you guys are locked in. Get your coffee, get ready, get ready for tonight's show, man. We're gonna break it down tonight, man. We got lots to talk about. So hey, sit back and relax and just get ready. This is Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday, NFL After Dark with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you guys are doing all right, man. Hope your Sunday was wonderful and pleasant, like mine always is, especially when there is football amongst us. So, hey, we got a lot of games we got to go through real quick. But before we get tonight's show started, man, I just want to let you guys know NFL After Dark is presented by The Grid, the sports leaders in entertainment and sports media content, man. We are taking over, so make sure you catch the wave as we get going with this The Grid. So we got a lot of great content creators on our docket there, so make sure you head over to The Grid and check us out, especially on YouTube as well as Instagram. So hey, without further ado, man, let's just get straight into the show, really. So as you can see here, we got a couple things we do want to talk about this evening, for sure. But before I do that, man, let's go again real quick and run through today's events and what took place today. So Early this morning, Denver Broncos took on the Jacksonville Jaguars in Wembley Stadium, in historic Wembley Stadium in London, England. But the Broncos end up getting a win. Russell Wilson returned back to action and helped the Denver Broncos get off that 4-game losing schneid that they've been so desperately wanting to get off. And Nathaniel Hackett will have a trip back home to Denver, Colorado for the time being. So, hey, they're still not out of the woods, but they get the win on the road. Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm kind of done. They were a little bit exciting in the beginning of the year. But right now, they're still a young team. I think they may have some potential. But I think just right now, they just don't have it. All right. Arizona Cardinals, heading on the road, taking on the Minnesota Vikings, a team that myself and some other people, agree that they probably shouldn't be where they are. Right, as far as their record's concerned, and as well as the power rankings that I had this morning. But regardless or not, listen, they end up getting the win, right, which is important. It don't matter at the end of the day. Any win in the NFL is a hard earned win, so you got to give them respect for that. So, they're going to have some tests coming up soon. The Cowboys will be coming in there, I believe, sometime in November, right before Thanksgiving. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. But their offense, got it going. Arizona Cardinals tried to come back late. But listen, Kyler Murray, good, solid player. But there's just something off in Arizona. And I don't know if it's going to affect the way this organization kind of looks at their future moving forward. But something is definitely off. DeAndre Hopkins still played a hell of a game. I believe he had 12 receptions, if not close to 100 yards in receptions. But still just wasn't enough at the end of the day. He had went for 12 for 159. He only dropped one pass. So, but still something is missing in Arizona, but the Vikings get the win. All right. My Dallas Cowboys get the win today. In a game this morning, if you watch my morning show, I did not have them covering. They ended up covering. They let the Bears back in the game. The game was up? I think Dallas was up about 5 points at one point. The Bears got some late touchdowns in the end of the first half. At one point, it was 28-7, almost close to the end of the first half, and somehow they make it 28-17. But the Cowboys offense got it going, and I'm going to talk about Tony Pollard later on. He went for the hat trick for the 3 touchdowns. I'll break down his stat line later. The defense, it's obvious. But as Cowboy fans, if you do watch football, you'll know that the Cowboys can't stop the run at all. They struggle. They struggle against the run, and that's what the Bears did today. I think they rushed for over 200 yards between Justin Fields and any other running backs that they had. Really not much in the passing game for the most part, but the Cowboys get the win. They go on the bye week, at 6-2, I believe, right now, 6-2, which is nice. And the NFC East is looking pretty strong right now, considering with the exception of the Giants losing today, everyone else won in the division. All right. But again, we're going to talk about Tony Pollard later on because there's now a new controversy in Dallas. So we'll get to that later on in the show. All right. Atlanta Falcons win a close one like I said they would. Listen, DJ Moore, you got to keep your composure, bro. The fact that the Hail Mary was even answered by the football gods, you got to keep your helmet on. I'm not saying that's why they lost the game, because they probably should have lost the game prior to that Hail Mary being thrown by PJ Walker. And, pretty good game for him. I think he threw over 300-something yards, considering, his history. But DJ Moore, you got to keep that helmet on, man. If you keep that helmet on, there's a good chance that Eddie Pinheiro will make that extra point and you guys will steal a game in Atlanta, a game that you probably should have lost in the first place. But listen, Falcons, again, they're the cardiac kids. They love to... If you're, I don't know, I couldn't be an Atlanta Falcons fan at this point. It's hard because listen, a lot of their games are just really close, man. I wish I had the stat, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these games are probably decided about 10 points or less. Sometimes probably even 6. And this game was very thrilling in the end. But the Carolina Panthers, they fall. Falcons get the win. Not much I can say about Philadelphia, man. Listen. They're rolling people. They're steamrolling people. They get the big win today. 35-13. I think the spread was like 13.5, if I'm not mistaken. And, listen, Steelers, they're in a mess. I thought maybe they needed to throw more, but they did today. It just didn't really work. I think they're going to have to really, really Mike Tomlin's going to have to figure out. And the one thing with Pittsburgh, they go through offensive coordinators. I think you're going to have to try to run the ball a lot more. Najee Harris really did not do anything today. Granted, because they were down, so you got to go away from the run. But let's looking at Kenny Pickett's stat line. I mean, he threw 38 times, no touchdowns, 191. Your leading rusher was Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren was your leading rusher, and no one has an answer for A.J. Brown right now. None. So Philly looking strong, and their schedule really isn't that difficult. So there's a good chance. I mean, I don't think they're going to go undefeated. It's the NFL. They're gonna have an off day at some point. But right now, that day is not today, and they get the win 35-13. All right. The fraudulent New York Giants, I'll take that back. They're not that fraudulent. Listen, their defense is good. And for what they do on offense, it works with what they do on defense. It's kind of like what the Steelers probably need to do, right? Run the football and play really good defense, right? The Giants have really good defense. The problem today was the special teams. Two fumbles that resulted in points. And Seattle found a way to win this game. Geno Smith, I keep saying it every week, man. He's got to be the leader in the clubhouse in comeback player of the year. He's got to be. So kudos to him. But the Seahawks get the win, and they're still atop of the NFC West, a wild NFC West. But they get the win at home against the New York Giants, 27-13. The Giants fall now to 6-2, I believe, and now second in the NFC East behind my Dallas Cowboys because of the head-to-head matchup already. But listen, as a Giants fan, I would say it would be pretty exciting to see your team. Now, this is not a crappy team. I'll give them credit. They're scrappy. They're led by a really, really strong defensive coordinator in Wink Martindale. And your head coach is probably the leader in the clubhouse again for coach of the year. So there's some really, really good things going on for the New York Football Giants. And it pains me to say that because I'm a Cowboys fan. But if I'm being very, keeping it real with you guys, I got to say that this team definitely has a chance. Now, if they can figure out their quarterback situation moving forward, I don't know what they're going to do. Do they trust Daniel Jones? Do they need to go out and draft someone? I don't know. But the formula that they have right now definitely works for them, even in a loss. This game was close. It was close, but because of those two special team blunders, it kind of helped propel Seattle to that win in the Pacific Northwest. But I called the Seattle Seahawks to win that game anyway, so I'm looking pretty good. All right, the next game that was part of my clutch picks, Washington Commanders and Indianapolis Colts. Wow, what a finish at the end. Terry McLaurin coming back home to Indianapolis, a stadium that he's played in at least 5 times as a collegiate athlete and as well as a high school athlete, and now to come back as a pro and get the game-winning catch, not the touchdown, but the game-winning catch from Tyler Haneke. They were down, 16-10 with a little over a minute, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, and they drive the field, man. They get down, they need a touchdown in the extra point, and they get it. Washington has a somewhat decent defense, I would say. It's their defensive line. That's where they get after you at, is the defensive line. And it didn't help too with the Colts that you started a younger quarterback in Sam Ehlinger, who tried his best. It just wasn't enough. Jonathan Taylor, no touchdowns today. There's something wrong in Indianapolis, for sure. And we know that, last week, I believe I had Frank Reich on my hot seat of coaches. It's looking like this might be his time, unfortunately. And you don't want to see anyone lose their job, but I mean, I don't know what his contract situation is, but even if they do let him go, he's going to be all right. His family will be all right. They'll just be displaced amongst the other coaches on that regime. Unfortunately, that's how it works in the NFL, considering especially this team is supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. This team has been a quarterback away for quite some time, and I think that window's closed. And unfortunately for Colts fans, you're thinking, oh man, we're still a quarterback away. I don't know, man. Maybe, but the NFL seasons are very fickle. They come in hot, they come in cold. You just don't know. But this team definitely had high expectations, and they just couldn't get it done. And the Washington Commanders get the win 17-16 on the road. All right, Detroit Lions taking on the Miami Dolphins in a shootout. Dolphins, I would be a little bit concerned. Because Because it's the Lions. And you're giving up that many points to them. 31-27. Miami Dolphins get the win. Tua looked pretty good. I would say. No interceptions, really good. I think he threw like 35 or 36 times for 382. 3 touchdown passes, looking pretty solid. Jalen Waddle went off 8 receptions, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So if you had him on fantasy, you racked up some. Hopefully you got a win today because he was there. They were balling. But the defense kind of gave up a little bit. Well, not a little bit. They gave up a lot. For sure. But they end up getting the win. So, with Tua back, since the concussion, he's 2 for 2, and they're going to keep this going, especially, in the AFC. AFC East is kind of, not, I wouldn't say it's wide open, but if you're fighting for that second seed, or the second seed, but the second spot in that division, it can definitely be had because it's Buffalo Bills and then the Jets, which I'll get to them later on in the show. The Jets trying to just give it away. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with them there. All right. Raiders, well, what can I say, man? I picked the Saints to win this morning. I thought the Raiders would at least put up a fight, but they're done. I mean, their season's done. Raider fans out there, I live here in the city of Las Vegas. I don't want to hear nothing from the Raider fans. I have no words for that. You guys are 2-5. You beat the Texans, and this is so funny about them. Is like they beat the Texans, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go on a run." Like, let's just be real. Yeah, you beat the Texans, okay, but that game was not like a barn burner. You guys had to pull away late in that game. Again, it's the defense, man. And I know the offense didn't score any points. They didn't do themselves any favors. I didn't really watch a lot of this game, but from what I can understand, it's just this team's a mess. And I think every week now, if they keep losing, and they'll have another tough one next week. And I know I told you I'm off the Jacksonville Jaguars, but still, they're gonna be at home. The Raiders are gonna be away on the road again. They're not coming back to Vegas. They're staying out back east. Who knows, man? Sometimes the road can go. It can do two things to you. It can divide a team and it can bring a team together because you got this mentality, especially like we're on the road if it's the world against us. But I don't know what the Raiders, man. I just don't know. Is it Derek Carr? Is he the problem? Is it the coaching? I don't know. You add Devontae Adams. What? I really don't know. And if you talk to any Raider fan, they're gonna blame Derek Carr. That's what they typically do. Josh Jacobs only touched the ball 10 times. How that happens, I don't know. But again, I didn't watch this game a lot. I didn't get in the flow of it. So I don't know. They had to just abandon the run game. So maybe that's why his carries diminished. I don't know if they started getting him early. I mean, he was averaging about 4.5, close to 4.5 yards per carry, which is fairly good. You start averaging over 4 yards a carry. That's pretty good. Because 2 plays, you're almost, third down, you're probably like at 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, right? So, but I don't know, but a lot of questions for them. And if they lose to Jacksonville next week, I think that hot seat for Josh McDaniels turns up just a little bit more, right? Because if I'm Mark Davis, I'm looking at this like, man, come on, we went and got you Devontae Adams, we went and got Chandler Jones, we paid Max Crosby. What else do we have to do? And I don't think it's all Josh McDaniels' fault. I mean, he is the head coach at this point. But listen, the defense sucks. I mean, that's always been the problem. The defense and the offensive line, you got to fix that. And I think you might start to see them go in the right direction. I had high hopes for the Raiders this season. I really thought adding Devontae Adams would have helped boost them, especially, they made the playoffs last year. But it just seems like they just can't get it done, and they lose to the Saints, who came off. Now, granted, the Saints had a long layover. Almost like a bye within a bye in a sense, because they played last week Thursday, and so they had opportunities to come back home, get things right, and they skunk. They hang a donut on the Raiders. And they improved to 3-5, and the Raiders are 2-5 and dead last in the AFC West. All right, next game, Jets and Patriots. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I'll talk about this later on. Jets, what are you doing? They fall to New England. And if this was the year you're going to get New England, this is it. You guys were walking in. You're coming off, some really, really hard-fought wins. And then again, they screw me over. So I'm done taking the Jets. right now for the foreseeable future in my clutch picks of the week because they screwed me. I would have went 4-0. But I ended up finishing 3-1, which is not too shabby. But anyway, all right. Tennessee Titans against the Houston Texans. Derrick Henry just runs roughshod over this team. I mean, every time I see him play this team, he's just going nuts. This guy went for 219 today. 219 and 2 touchdowns, averaging 6.8 yards a carry. Literally, if he touched the ball twice in a drive, that's a first down. Or in the series, that's a first down. Not much you can do about that. Malik Willis, he gets his debut. The guy only threw for 55 yards, and he didn't have to do much, obviously, because you have Derrick Henry. Malik Willis did not look like an NFL quarterback, and I don't know, a lot of it was, play calling, but he did not look good. He looked really small, diminutive. He looked like the game was just too fast for him. He's pretty athletic, but man, as a quarterback, you got to throw the football, and he did not look comfortable in the pocket. I mean, he had 10 attempts and completed 6 passes for 55 yards. My youth quarterback stole for that, more than that, okay, in the first half. So not trying to bring the young man down, but I'm just watching him today. I wasn't like, oh, all right, Tennessee, you guys may have something here, but we'll have to wait and see. But, they're going to keep running behind Derrick Henry. And next Sunday night is going to be a really good Sunday night matchup game. Not like the one we got today, but because Tennessee is going to be on the road, I believe, in Kansas City, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. So that should be a really, 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 really good game. And I'm going to be interested to see how that plays out next week when Tennessee comes into town. Well-coached team. They're 5-2. They're first in AFC South now, which I picked them to win the division. And that division, I think that division is theirs now. The Colts are fading. Jags are going to be fading. And they own the Texans. So it's all good. Tennessee Titans win. Tighten up, as they would say down there in Nashville. All right. Probably one of my most fun games to watch today, the San Francisco 49ers taking on the LA Rams. And I'm going to talk about them in just a little bit more, but they get the win on the road. And I wouldn't say dominating fashion, but they've won like 7 or 8 consecutive regular season games against the Rams. When a team has your number, they got your number, man. And they did this without Deebo Samuel today. Okay, so I'll talk about that, but LA Rams, Jalen Ramsey, shut up. Just shut the hell up. I saw a clip. Jalen Ramsey had some cleats in his locker that says, I'm him. Like, well, I mean, he's not the whole team, but something about the Rams I just don't like. I don't like. Matthew Stafford is still pretty average. I think he got crowned this incredible quarterback just because he won the Super Bowl. He's still Matthew Stafford. Them not having OBJ really hurts them, man. And Cooper Kupp went down late in that game with an ankle. I don't think he returned. He only had 8 catches for 79 yards. They didn't give up the big plays. And I feel like if you can manage giving up the big plays to this team, they're beatable. They're definitely beatable. They don't have a running game whatsoever, right? They don't get after the quarterback the way they've been getting after. Von Miller left. Where's your pass rush? Well, Aaron Donald's there. He's not really a pass rusher. Okay. He's a good player. One of the greatest defensive linemen we've ever seen, but he don't get after the quarterback like that. Most defensive tackles don't get after the quarterback like that. Okay. So the Rams definitely got some problems right now. And they're third in the NFC West. It's just them and the Cardinals, right? And then Niners and Seahawks are going to be duking it out. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen to the Rams. I'm just pulling up their schedule right now. I don't know what it's going to look like for them. But I think they got Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're on the road at Tampa Bay, Arizona, New Orleans, Kansas City, to wrap up November, right? So, maybe they're good enough to beat Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay is kind of in a rut. And I'm putting it nicely there, right? Arizona, those divisional games can go either way. New Orleans, that can be a weird kind of spot there too, depending on who's the quarterback there. Kansas City, I can't see them winning that game in Kansas City. So if they're gonna want to get back in the fight, man, they're gonna have to do some stuff, because it's not looking really good for them right now in the foreseeable future. All right, Green Bay Packers, Buffalo Bills. But they've dropped 4 now in a row. Is that what it is now? The Packers. This game was over from the beginning. I thought maybe they had a chance, just maybe they would have banded together. But the Bills were just a better team. Just a better team. Aaron Rodgers and them. I had them picked to win the NFC North, but I was wrong. I mean, I thought he was good enough to win a lot of these games, but he's just showing that he's not anymore, right? And you know, look what happens in just 1 year. You know, he's the reigning MVP, you know, and now he's just a dude there with a bad attitude. And I don't think he's willing. Now, they did run the football today. I'll give them that. They tried. But when you're giving up 14 points out the bat, like, that's hard, man. That's hard. You know, Aaron Jones went off. He went for, 21 or 20 carries for 140 something. You know, no touchdowns, though, but still. But Josh Allen, you know, pretty solid. I mean, pretty pedestrian in his mind. You know, the turnovers for him are what's gonna mess them up if he continues to do that, especially when they eventually run into the Chiefs again, right? Because you're not trying to give Patrick Mahomes extra possessions there. So, you know, it is what it is. So we'll have to wait and see about the Packers are done. It's crazy. They're still second in the NFC North, but the Vikings are gonna run away with that. And maybe the Packers are gonna be fighting to get into the playoffs as a wild card, but I don't know, man, because I think it's going to be 3 teams coming out of the NFC East, and then you have the other divisional winners. So who knows what's going to happen? And I'm just kind of looking in the future. They got the Lions next, but that could be that's not a winnable game either, right? And I know the Lions aren't that great, but they're scoring on people, man. They're definitely scoring. So yeah, they've lost 4 in a row now. They got Detroit, then they got my Cowboys on the 13th, and then they have Tennessee. Those are all losable games for them. This thing can keep going. If they're going to get a win and break up this losing streak, it's going to have to be next week. Because if not, you got Dallas, Tennessee, and then Philadelphia after that, right after Thanksgiving. So, yeah, they got a tough stretch, and they're at Philly, but they're at home for Tennessee and Dallas. So that maybe that might be a saving grace for them, but right now, man, it's not looking good for them and Matt LaFleur and the rest of that whole team. They're gonna have to figure out something because it just ain't working out for them right now. All right. Recap of today's picks. I almost went 4-0 back-to-back weeks, but those damn Jets screwed me up. Talk about them here next. But Seattle got a nice win at home, which I called that. Washington. You know, they were the underdogs, but you know what? I had a feeling, you know, because they're playing a rookie, not a rookie quarterback, but a younger quarterback. Their quarterback was a little bit more seasoned. Taylor Heineke had played some meaningful games here in the National Football League already. That was kind of the decision making or the thought process behind those picks today. And this Tennessee, look, they got Derrick Henry, and I knew they were starting Malik Willis, and I didn't expect him to just have this amazing first game of his career, but it's Derrick Henry, man, and it's the Texans. How could you go against that? how could you simply go against that? But yeah, hey, look, pretty good, man. So what's that? If you do the math there, 18 and 12. So, you know, after 2 weeks, I had really 2 bad weeks, but I'm bouncing back and getting back on those winning sides. Good. All right. So that's a recap of today. Let's talk about some little highlights and news from today's action. So I want to start with the Jets, man. Listen, you fall to the Patriots 22-17. Your quarterback really made some boneheaded interceptions. And for the last couple of weeks, we've all been praising Zach Wilson, you know, being smart with the football, looking more like a veteran, right? Now, there was a questionable roughing the passer late, I believe, in that second half. That may have started to turn the tide for them. But listen, you can't throw 3 turnovers. You can't. It's one thing if you have turnovers, but the way he gave it up, just real nonchalant, throwing off his back foot, doing all this rookie stuff that he's been doing. And you know, and you lose to Mac Jones. You lose to a team that's not even that great offensively. And you're 5-3. They should be easily 6-2 today, easily. So I don't trust them. I know, you know, they went on this nice little winning streak here, but I don't trust them. I just can't. If the quarterback, I can't trust him either, really. So that's part of the reason why, you know, Breece Hall goes down. I'm looking at their stats today. I mean, they had no running game whatsoever. But those three interceptions were crucial, man, because of how you're taking positions away from yourself when you're not even that productive offensively. Zach Wilson, he threw 41 times and 355, which looks great, obviously. But listen, 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Can't do that. And when you play the Patriots, regardless of what their talent is like, hell, that's football in general. More often than not, if you lose the turnover battle, you end up losing the game. And that's exactly what happened. I I knew it was going to be close just because the Patriots defense is solid. They're not world beaters, but they're solid. So I don't know what to really expect from the Jets. They were cool. It was sexy pick going in. I kind of got on it a little bit, but listen, man, I'm looking at their schedule. Just the sheer fact that they're 5-3 is kind of remarkable, considering when we looked at the beginning of the schedule, when the schedules were released in April, right? Listen, those are the preseason games. So, you didn't get off to a good start. You lost to Baltimore. You snuck one out in Cleveland. You fell flat on your face against Cincinnati. You picked up a nice win, come from behind win at Pittsburgh, right? Really the Pittsburgh Steelers ain't really that great. Miami, you get the win against Miami. However, they were down to like their 4th string quarterback at that point, right? I don't think they beat Miami today. You go on the road, you beat Denver, who was struggling, obviously, and then you fall flat on your face. So really, if you look at those 5 wins, man, what's that hallmark win? I don't know. And it's not saying that some other teams out there that are undefeated, because you can easily look at the Eagles schedule and say, well, it's pretty easy, but they've beaten everybody that they needs to beat. They're undefeated, right? But now you're looking at the Jets schedule. So you got Buffalo next week. That's probably a loss. So you're going to drop 2 there. Then you got to go to New England. That's probably going to be another loss. Okay? Chicago is looking like they're starting to figure out. Matt Eberflus, the head coach there, even though they lost to the Cowboys today, I think they've figured out what they're going to be doing. I think they found out what their identity is. Justin Fields not that bad, but they're going to run the football. Okay? And they've proven that they can get some points on the board today with running the football. So, Minnesota, Buffalo, and listen, this team, they were like our little darlings in the beginning of the year, but unless Zach Wilson can get his gameplay going, I don't know, man. I think they're going to start falling hard, and before you know it, the Jets are going to crash and burn, and it's starting to look like that, and it's weird because they were on this hot winning streak. Listen, they had won they pretty much went the whole month of October except for today and won every game. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. They won 4 games this month, 4 games, right? And now you're going into November. They got 3 games in November. And those are going to be tough games. Buffalo, I'm pretty sure I know that's going to be a loss for sure. And then you got the rematch with New England and then Chicago, who is posing to be a tough out any way you take it. So we'll have to see what happens to them. But as the quote says here, Jets not clear to take off, not clear for takeoff. I thought a lot of us, even including myself, I got on them again. But I think we jumped the gun a little bit, and they're not clear for takeoff. I think they're grounded, and I think they're going to continue to ground themselves throughout the rest of the season because it's not going to get easier for them. All right. Moving right along, let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers, that San Francisco treat. I'm not talking about Rice Aroni. Listen, there are a lot of knuckleheads on social media. When this trade was made for Christian McCaffrey, draft picks this, and you Niner fans, listen, I don't come on here, I don't yell in mics, I don't do all this extra boisterous type of behavior just to get you guys to come click. If you like what I'm talking about, you like it for what it's worth. I'm not going to be this extraordinary, larger-than-life type of figure because that's not how I am for the most part. But listen, the Niners are in a position to win games now. I was talking to a friend the other day. I don't give a damn about draft picks. I don't. And you know why? Because they're unknown, unproven commodities. That's why. Now, people were talking so much shit about, Niners giving up so much to Carolina and what they got in return. Now, I get it. Christian McCaffrey has been injury prone for the most part of his career. I understand that. But when the guy is healthy, the guy is healthy. This fool threw for a touchdown, caught one, and rushed for a touchdown today. You don't think he helped beat the Rams today? You don't think that he was a part of that win today? And if you say no and you want to say something else, then you're an idiot and you don't know anything about football. And that's straight up. I'm just keeping it real. Okay. So right now, this team is people. Trust me, I've read it all on social media. Oh, you Niner, and I'm not even a Niner fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. I should hate the Niners, by principle, right? But I don't. I'm being realistic with you guys. So here's the thing. This team had a lot of injuries. Okay, you get Trent Williams back. Nick Bosa comes back. Okay, they won this game without Deebo Samuel today. All right, so this is a well-coached team, man. And you add a guy like Christian McCaffrey to the mix, it helps your team, man. I don't care what you say. If you add a guy like that to your roster, it's not like the Texans traded for him, right? He's on a really good team with a really good defense and a pretty good offensive scheme. So, they're going to be in a race with the Seattle Seahawks to win that division. Okay? But if you tell me that trade, I think both teams won that trade, because if you look at Carolina's stance, right? They're like, you know what? We've had him for so many years. It ain't working out. We ain't doing shit with him. All right? We got to move off from him. All right? So we have to. We need the draft picks because they need commodities. The San Francisco 49ers don't need. What the hell is the San Francisco 49ers going to do with a first-round draft pick? Especially if they make the playoffs. They're going to be picking somewhere in between 10 and 15 or higher, depending on how far back they get into the playoffs. Okay? So all you social media out there, people that are doing like clickbait just to get people, fine. I respect your hustle. I respect your game, whatever it is, what it is. But I'm here to tell you that people fall in love with draft picks. And sometimes, depending on your organization, who cares about the draft picks? The Rams just told you last season, we don't give a damn about draft picks. They went out and they signed Von Miller. They went and got damn near everybody named Mama. Okay? Is anyone caring about them draft picks that they may or may not have gotten or would have picked from? No, because they won a freaking Super Bowl. Okay? Now, I know they're only 4-4 right now, but I think this team is going to go on a tear, man. And mark my words. Mark my words. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll come out and tell you, like, listen, you got the Chargers, as your next game because I believe they go on a bye. That's a winnable game. And you're at home. Brandon Staley's going to give you that game. Okay? I'm just looking at their schedule. But it's just funny, you watch all this stuff on the internet. And so, people just be talking out the side of their ass, boy. I just be like, I didn't come on and I didn't say much about it because I wanted it to develop. I'm not going to just come here and speak. But I've been watching football a long time. And Christian McCaffrey is a good football player when he is healthy. And therefore, when he's healthy, he only helps his team. They got the Chargers, Cardinals, and New Orleans. They're going to be close to home in all those games. Now, they have to go on the road in Arizona, which is a divisional game, but those are winnable games, man. Those are winnable games. And this team, for whatever it's worth, Jimmy G, he's not this prototypical quarterback that everyone loves, but the guy's pretty efficient, man. I'm just looking at their offensive stats. They're not scoring a lot of points. I think that'll pick up, but they're middle of the road, but their defense is where it's at. Total yards, they're 4th overall. They're almost tied for top 10 in passing yards given up. They're the second best rush defense in all of football, probably behind Tennessee, I would say. 8th overall in points. And if you start giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey, come on, man. So all you idiots out there that think that this was a terrible trade, you're not looking at it correctly. You're not looking at it right. Okay. So you got to take the feelings out of it and just look at it for what it's worth. The Niners, they feel like they're in a position to go out and try to win a Super Bowl. And it's still November or end of October, early November. There's a lot of football left to be played, man. So right now, everyone's on, the Eagles, they're swinging from their nutsack right now, but we don't know what's going to happen in late December. Injuries, you just don't know, right? We don't know who the teams are going to be until late December as we start gearing towards the playoffs. So I'm liking the Niners. If you're a Niners fan, I'm telling you right now, and I'm not even blowing smoke up your ass, you should feel really good about your team. You should. You absolutely should. Because they're going to get it going. Because you beat the Rams twice this year already. Are you really that scared of the Seahawks or the Cardinals? You're probably not. You're probably not. Okay. So I liked it. I liked the move. It was a good move by John Lynch, getting Christian McCaffrey, and giving up what they gave up. But first, second, and the fourth, who gives a damn? If you end up winning a Super Bowl, who cares about the draft pick? It means nothing to us. Nothing. So I'll leave it at that. All right. Last topic before I get out of here tonight, man. Is there another type of controversy with some players in Dallas? Listen, Dak was out for quite some time. He came back. He's a starting quarterback. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And it was never in my mind that I think that Cooper Rush was going to be the guy there. Cooper Rush did a fantastic job. Kudos to him. He did a fantastic job holding down the fort. But Dak Prescott is the guy. But we'll push that aside. Tony Pollard should be the number one feature back for the Dallas Cowboys. And here's why. All right, I'll give you my thought. I don't have no stats. I'm just telling you from what I've seen just by watching the game. Now, not to say that Zeke cannot have still a large part in this offense because of what he does. Okay. But if you watch it, man, Tony Pollard he is what Zeke was once at one point. He is a home run hitter. Okay. You want a big play in the run game, you're going to start handing the ball off to Tony Pollard because that's what the guy is. Now, he's deceptively fast. He don't look like he's going to burn you, but the guy, you just saw it today, man. He takes something very simple as a zone run left or right or whatever the case may be, and he's off to the house, man. And I'm not saying that Zeke can't be beneficial in this offense. Now, one thing Pollard has to clean up is his third down. He's got to be a better third down back, right? That's what Zeke is really still good at. Why? Because Zeke can block. Tony Pollard, about C+, B- type of blocker, where Ezekiel is an A+ third down back. Now, and I think they sat him they sat him today because they figured, well, we think Tony Pollard is that guy. Now, he's probably gonna want some money, and that becomes a problem. Okay. But I think that moving forward, Tony Pollard is going to be the guy. The guy averaged like over 9.5 yards today. So damn near every time he touched the ball today, he was damn near close to a first down. Zeke has not been that player since. Zeke has had to change his game. Zeke was 1984 Michael Jordan, right? And now he's, later on Jordan was, he can hit the 15-footer. He's not jumping off around people, doing this and all that. Like, that's not Zeke's game anymore. He's going to be in between the tackles. He's going to get you 3 yards a carry for the most part. Hopefully you can get him in that 4-yard average, and that's what he's going to do. He doesn't have that burst anymore like Tony Pollard does, right? Not saying that he can't score touchdowns, but I'm probably more likely to go to Tony Pollard more often than not. So if like Tony Pollard had 14 carries today, right? That's probably his typical workload. Let's just be real. You give him a little bit more. You say you get him up to 20 and then you give, Zeke about 12, 10 to 12. That's a good balance for what they do. But, Zeke is going to be the guy because he's the money man right now. He's the one making all the money. Tony Pollard is definitely going to be, he's going to be getting a lot of interest at the end of this year because I believe like this is his contract here for sure. So, it is what it is, but a lot of people, Zeke is still the man. You don't know shit. Like, dude, trust me. I've been watching Dallas Cowboys football, I don't know, since second grade from what I can remember. I've been around this team quite some time. Tony Pollard has that it factor for now, right? And you got to use that. Now, as far as like the Dallas Cowboys and the wide receiving core, people have asked me, should they go out and get OBJ? I don't know. I don't think you need to. I think this is where coaching comes into play. We still have CD who had a pretty solid game today. I mean, receiving wise, he had five catches, I believe, close to 100 yards and 1 touchdown. Okay. Noah Brown did not play today, who's been looking pretty solid. Him and Amari Cooper's stats kind of reflect each other, right? So we haven't really lost much there, right? We still got to get James Washington back in the fold. OBJ, we don't really know what he is like right now coming off of that knee injury, okay? So we don't know what he's like, but if you can get OBJ from the Rams a little bit towards the end of the year, oh yeah, then for sure, but you don't know. It just depends on the money. If he's willing to come in and not say take a pay cut, but If it works, if the money is good and the money's not funny, then you bring him in. I would welcome it. Okay, I'm not gonna sit and say no, I don't want OBJ because he proved me wrong. I thought he was washed. I really did. I said he was injury prone. I didn't think he was a great teammate the way he was handling it in Cleveland. But at the end of the day, it was the opposite. I thought that he did handle it well in Cleveland. Now he is injury prone, obviously, but it is what it is. That's why the money's got to be good. But if you add him, maybe you make a run. Maybe it helps Kellen. Kellen Moore called a pretty good game today. I ain't gonna lie, man. He mixed it up. You can see the offense flowing a little bit more. And I think why Tony Pollard, man, he's giving us those big chunk plays that you need. If you go back in the history books in the last 10 years, teams that win Super Bowls, man, they have big chunk plays and they play good defense. And the Cowboys got to start getting in those chunks. They have to start elevating their offense because right now I'm not going to say they're an early contender for the Super Bowl because their offense is not that potent. Their defense is I would say pretty damn elite for the most part, right? But their offense is it's not even worth mentioning. But today they look pretty good. But again, it's against the Bears, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But if to me, man, right now I'm starting Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is the guy. He's the guy that's going to be getting the reps, most of the reps, until Zeke can show that if he'll get that burst. And there's a good chance that he won't ever show that burst ever again, just because we just know how running backs are. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. All right, well, that's all I got, man. I know it's late for you guys on the East Coast. I appreciate you guys for listening in and watching. Make sure you guys check out my next show next week, Sunday morning. It won't be pre-recorded. I hope not. It should be good to go. Other than that, check out for my highlight recap of Week 8. That should be dropping Tuesday. Other than that, man, listen, hey, until I see you guys on the next show, man, enjoy your week. Be safe out there, and I'll see you guys next week, Sunday. That's all I got for tonight. Good night, everybody. Take care of yourself. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL After Dark. Like I always say, man, never settle till the work is done. I'll see you guys later. Peace.